Emily, I am so excited to talk to you. Today's conversation is something that's really near and dear to my heart for all the plus size shawties out there and anyone who's just really about body equality and what that means. And you're such a huge part of the movement and like what's happening, and you are totally making waves. So I'm beyond excited to get down and talk.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
Before we really like get into it, I want to hear kind of your story. Like, how did you step into this place of being a part of the change and these conversations? And what Old Navy is doing is freaking huge.
It's so exciting.
I can't even think of anyone else who's doing it. And it's really, really exciting. And so I'm just curious, like, I want to hear more about your story and like how we got to this place.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been with Gap Inc. for just over 4 years since I graduated from college. When I interviewed with the company in 2016, I arrived at the interview and I interviewed for something called the Rotational Management Program. Shout out to RMP. It's how I got my start. I love you all.
Shout out.
So when you interview, you kind of go in with like 100 other people who are interviewing. You're in the final stage of the interview process. You're there in San Francisco at Gap Inc. headquarters. And the first night is a dinner with everyone. And so I go to the dinner the first night and I took a look around and I was like, oh no, they didn't mean to call me. Everyone looked the same.
Wow.
At least that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Let me say that. That's not the reality. That's certainly how it felt, though. And I felt like they did not mean to call this plus size girl. It is an accident that I am here. I literally went back to my hotel room and cried.
Wow.
I called the person who is now my girlfriend. I called her and I was like, this was a mistake, but at least I got to go to San Francisco. Like, that's cool. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just speak my mind while I'm here. I've got nothing to lose. So the next day, we go into meetings with leaders and they're talking to us and someone says, every single one of you is here for a reason. All of you bring something different to the table. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I do bring something different to the table than anyone else here because I have lived experiences as a plus size woman and nobody else does. So then I go into the interviews and I sit down with the vice president of women's merchandising. Her name is Allison Partridge. I love her to death. I sit down with her and she tells me, why do you want to work for Old Navy? And I said, Old Navy is a brand that has spoken to me basically my entire life because you carry plus sizes. Mm-hmm. And I think Old Navy plus sizes are really good, but I want to be a part of making them even better.
Wow.
And she was like, amazing. Love to hear that. So, shocking to me, I got a call back and they made me an offer. And I was like, absolutely. I felt like I didn't belong there, but I think I really do.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I did not start with the Plus product. Whenever I started, I actually started working on girls product. But I chased down every person in the building who worked on Plus. And I was like, what can I do? How can I be involved here? And so in the beginning, it happened to be a season where we had a lot of online customer comments around swim product and Plus and just how, they weren't loving the fit. And so literally I would get a text at like 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, hey, can you come down here and try on this bathing suit? I'd be like, yeah, I just ate nachos for lunch and I haven't shaved my legs. So like, I'll be right there. Sure.
No problem.
And P.S. doing that, Old Navy swim now fits me amazingly well. So,
wow.
So worth the sacrifice.
Yes.
Absolutely. So every chance that I had to work with the team, I did. I put in my POV. I told them what I thought. And then fast forward to a position came open on the team. And I said, absolutely, I would love to be a part of the team. That same woman, Allison Partridge, was over Plus at the time. So I was like, yes, I would love to work with you. Let's do this. And so now for the past 2 years, I have been working on what we call Body Quality at Old Navy, which is the launch of our size-inclusive shopping experience. And I am the customer lead on the project. So anything that's customer experience, customer POV, I have a hand in it.
I'm already ready to cry because to me, it's so beautiful, the fact that every girl can relate of walking into a store and whether it's like an overwhelming amount of like shame or guilt because they don't carry your size or just maybe they do have quote unquote plus size, but I'm like, but okay,
for what? For
plus,
what plus size body?
I'm like plus a couple inches. What did y'all add?
Yes, I mean that's exactly it, right? Plus a couple inches. That's kind of like the old school, outdated industry way of adding plus or extended sizes is just adding inches. And any plus size woman, any woman who's ever tried on clothes knows like it's not just about the measurements. It's really about how the product fits you and feels on you.
Exactly. And so, growing up with these experiences, I would totally would walk into a store and hate
Yep.
when something didn't fit me. And I just want to talk about, like, it's okay to buy clothes that fit.
Yes.
It is 100% okay to buy clothes that fit. I would totally punish myself when I was younger because I was like, oh, I have to size up.
Yeah.
Like, I have to size up. Even this past year, I've had to size up, and it was a hard time for me.
Yeah.
And then I sat myself down and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why is it so bad that my body's growing,
right,
and I need a size that fits comfortably?
100%.
Why is that so evil, and why is that so bad? And so I want to ask you, like, have you ever, like, when it comes to gaining, like, self-acceptance, like, how has that process looked for you to, like, gain self-acceptance in your body changing and having to change sizes? Because that can be hard.
It can be really hard. There's certainly an emotional toll. And I think for me, eventually I just got tired of carrying around the emotional weight of constantly caring about what that number is, what that size is. Because at the end of the day, like, brand to brand, even within a brand, your size can change. And so I think there's an element of you have to accept that that number doesn't actually mean anything. There's no standard, like, size to measurement table out there that the entire industry goes by. So, I think it's partially accepting that that number doesn't mean anything, but then partially just accepting that I'm a human being, and no matter what size my body is, I am worthy of existing, of being happy, of being myself, and of wearing clothes that fit me. Like, period.